Hello world, I'm an average Joe and I play games. And this week Bungie released more information on the Prison of Elders, and which is one of the pieces of content that is coming up in the House of Wolves expansion that will drop in about 10 days or so. And I don't know about you, but I am stoked about the Prison of Elders. I'm not going to talk about everything about the Prison of Elders here, but it's basically a horde mode, procedurally generated, random type thing, it's not really procedurally generated, but it's every wave is random and there's boss rounds and different modifiers and everything. So I'm excited about that. Go watch Bungie's reveal. It's on their YouTube channel if you missed it. But today what I'm going to talk to you about is the loadout that I will be bringing into Prison of Elders. Now, obviously, once we play through Prison of Elders for a couple of weeks, the weapons and loadouts that work best will kind of work themselves out. But as far as week one, this is what I'm going to be bringing. And I'm going to be bringing a variety of weapons because of the different burn modifiers. I really think that having different weapons at your disposal will be key when you're going into the Prison of Elders. And one of the things that I noticed, so, Dado and some of these other YouTubers were invited out to Bungie to actually play Prison of Elders prior to it being released. And in watching their gameplay, one of the things that I noticed is that it was much more chaotic than a lot of the raids or strikes that we're used to. And a lot of that is because people just, haven't figured out the right, places to, be defensive and where each wave will spawn from. And so some of that will be figured out and become less chaotic and less hectic as time goes on. And yes, I'm sure people will find cheese spots and all that. Methods of cheesing that people will do on strikes and raids, and they'll figure that out for Prison of Elders as well. But until until the community kind of comes to a consensus in the optimal way to approach a particular room or a particular encounter, this is what I'm going to be bringing as far as Prison of Elders. I will be alternating between Voidwalker and Sunsinger. You guys know I am primarily a Warlock. I'm not really crazy about playing as my Hunter or my Titan. So Warlock is what I'll be using. I'll alternate between Sunsinger and Voidwalker, kind of depending on the situation. Sunsinger if I'm playing with weaker teammates and I need the self-resurrection as insurance, or if I'm fighting Hive, I really like Sunsinger because fusion grenades are awesome against wizards because of their solar shields. You can just stick a wizard and then a lot of the times the fusion grenade will take it out, unless it's a yellow bar wizard. And also the scorched melee is really good when you're being bum rushed by the Hive. The Hive enemies, they tend to bum rush you a little bit more, and so you'll get more mileage out of your scorched melee, which is the best melee in the game by far. But then you'll also be facing a lot of enemies, so aside from those situations, I'll be primarily running Voidwalker, and I won't be running this setup. That's my PvP setup. I'll be running Shatter and Battle Recovery and Toughness, and there we go. So otherwise, I'll be running Voidwalker to get the most mileage out of my Obsidian Mind with Nova Bomb. And then as far as weapons go, like I was saying, bringing in a variety of weapons is going to be key. Because you will be facing enemies with shields, you'll want to make sure that you have a primary weapon with each of the elemental damage types. If you don't have a primary weapon with each of the elemental damage types, go out and do your raids this week and next week to try to get one of those to drop, because I think these will really be key. So I'm going to be bringing Fatebringer, Vision of Confluence, and Word of Crota. Those are my three favorite elemental primaries. And so you see, I still have some leveling to do, and that's what I will be doing between now and May 19th, is leveling up these weapons. Now, as far as scout rifles go, I think because the first couple of weeks will be a little bit more chaotic, I think scout rifles will be weaker in the Prison of Elders, because watching people play, scout rifles are really, mini sniper rifles, or sniper rifles light. And so, scout rifles work best when you're able to engage enemies at long distances. So, I use scout rifles personally whenever I'm fighting Cabal enemies, for instance, because those typically don't get in your face. And so aside from the Cabal enemies in the Prison of Elders, scout rifles may be less useful, at least to start out with. But I'll be bringing a couple, Satyrian Rapier with the Firefly perk and Vision of Confluence, because it's one of the best scout rifles in the game. Bad Juju works well with cranking out as many supers as possible, particularly with Obsidian Mind. I will be bringing either the Red Death or Suros Regime. Obviously, I need to level them up a little bit because each of these will heal you as you kill enemies. And there are modifiers in Prison of Elders that limit your healing. And so, we have learned how to fight this way because of Crota, but you'll need to take all of the little tricks that you learned when fighting Crota into the Prison of Elders. So make sure that you bring gear that will replenish your health each time you pick up an orb. So I will be bringing my Crota's gear as well. And, just be aware that you may have to go into orb generation mode for your teammates. As far as secondaries go, you want, you'll want a shotgun of each elemental type and a sniper rifle of each elemental type. Fusion rifles, I'm just not crazy about. I will be bringing Murmur just because it only takes one slot. You can switch back and forth between them, and it's a pretty solid fusion rifle. But by and large, I'm going to be starting out with shotguns because, I think with all of the movement and not having a stable battlefield for those first couple of weeks, I think shotguns will help out a lot more because the battlefield will be more fluid. Sniper rifles are really good for hiding behind a rock and taking out bosses and things like that. So I will still be packing those, and I'll be packing my 3 favorite sniper rifles: Praetus, Revenge, Patience and Time, and Icebreaker. I'll probably grab 1 or 2 of my legendary sniper rifles as well, in case if I need to use Suros or Red Death to regenerate health. And then as far as special weapons go, you just want to be packing your highest damage special weapons. For me, that's Hunger, Crota, rocket launchers. I haven't really gotten a good Void or arc damage rocket launcher. At least I don't have any that have tracking on them. So I'll just be bringing Hunger of Crota for rockets, and then a heavy machine gun of each elemental type. Heavy machine guns are really good for eating away at shields and then switching to your primary or your secondary for finishing them off. At least that's how I like to use my heavy machine guns. And then the other thing that you'll want to make sure that you stock up plenty on is all of your synthesis. You want to have plenty of synthesis. Go do your weekly heroics, get your strange coins to buy lots of heavy synthesis from Zur, so you'll have plenty of that to take into the Prison of Elders with you. Well, there you guys have it. That is what I am going to be bringing day 1 into Prison of Elders. Let me know in the comment section below what loadout you will be bringing. Follow me on Twitter, subscribe, do all of that good stuff, and we will see you in the next game.